Shalom, this is Teller Nicholas with the House of St. Nicholas and Vitus Saints of Israel. Today I'm doing a video to edify Israel and let Israel know that the so-called slave last names that the Negroes wear here in America and in the Caribbean islands and in Europe belongs to the Negroes and the Americans, Caribbean islands, and Europe. They are not slave names. During the times we created the surnames in the Dark Ages, from 360 AD to 1400 to the late 1400s, the wild men, Caucasian Edomite, that have the surname like Johnson and James and what have you, was in the outskirts of Europe as wild men and wild women without a name, and their history was the caves of Patera, I'm saying, of Petra, Salakia. But before I get into that, I want to go into a scripture. I want to go into Isaiah 45:4, and it read, "For Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect, I have even called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me." So more or less, the Most High is letting us know that he surnamed us. And now, what is a surname? We ain't gonna go all the way. We're gonna, a little here, a little there. And it read, an additional name, a name or appellation added to the baptismal or Christian name, which becomes a family name. You know what I'm saying? So it came from a baptism. It came from a Christian connotation, from a Hebrew connotation, because we came out the Dark Ages. We came out of the Roman captivity, the Roman Empire, with the New Testament. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to debate that, we could debate that. Now, this is Prince Edwards the Black. Prince Edwards the Black. And this is history. This is circa 1330 to, I believe, 1340. Don't quote me. But this is Prince Edward the Black, bearing the three-feathered crown of Wales with the ostrich feather, 3 ostrich feathers. Now, we're going to prove that the ostrich feather heraldic motive is generally traced back to Edward the Black, Prince, 1330 to 1376. Now, you just seen that was the exact same crown that Prince Edward was wearing on the back of the Barbados penny. I'm going to go back to it. It's the same crown. They put King Prince Edwards on the back of the penny to mock us. But you can tell, you can see, that's the same crown. That's the same crown. In the Dark Age era. The Dark Ages, and you see during them time, during 1330, the Negroes ruled. The Caucasian white man, Edomite, that stole our surnames, was in the outskirts of Europe with no name and no history. So now I'm going to show you the Dark Age timeline. The Dark Ages is categorization commonly used to describe the period between the fall of the Roman Empire, as I explained, and the beginning of the Italian Renaissance. And we was there in Italy with Google Saraceni coat of arms. Saraceni coat of arms. Google that. In the age of exploration, roughly speaking, the Dark Ages corresponds to the Middle Ages from 500 AD to 1500 AD. I got my studies is from 360 AD to the late 1440s, 1500 AD. But it's still 1,000 years. 500 to 1500 is 1,000 years. In that And that was during the time the Negroes ruled the Dark Ages. I just showed you an image of Prince Edward's, all right, of 1330. Where is it? 1330, Edward the Black Prince of 1330. You know? And the Dark Age timeline is from 500 AD to 1500 AD. And that was the 1,000-year reign that was prophesied in the Bible. Let's get to it. And this is Revelation 20:6. And it reads, "Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power, but they shall be priests of Yahweh and of Yahweh Shah, and shall reign with him 1,000 years." And that from 500 to AD to 1500 AD was the 1,000 years that we reigned. And coming out of that Roman Empire was the first resurrection. You dig? And this is more history about us ruling during the Dark Ages. They got us there as Moors, but you got the Islamic Moors and you got the Christian Moors. We're the Christian Moors. You know what I'm saying? And this is circa 1440 during the Dark Ages when the Negroes ruled. And you see the images there of a king and a queen in a castle. And we ruled Europe for 1,000 years. That's black kings and queens of Europe. But it was prophecy that we fall after that 1,000-year run in Europe. And we're product of the captivity of that 1,000-year run. We're the offsprings of that reign. All right? Now, this is the prophecy of the wild man Caucasian Edomite coming out of the cages, coming out of his prison and overcoming us and stealing our surnames and lands in Europe and submerging us in slavery. Now this is Revelation 20:7, and it reads, "And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loose out of his prison." And that's this. The wild men, Edomite, Caucasian, who stole our surnames. This is the Edomite, Caucasian wild men who stole our surnames. And this is the king and the king and the queen, the knights. And these are our ancestors, the ones that bear our surnames today. It came from these. It came from the black nobilities that's in the castle fighting against the wild man Caucasian that stole our surname. But it was prophecy. And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loose out of his prison. And that was the 1,000-year reign from 500 AD to 1500 AD. And that was 1440. This is circa 1440, this image. And this is the wild man riding a unicorn. And the unicorn represented Israel. And I'm going to prove that. This is the coat of arms of King James. That's the unicorn of Israel with the crown with the coronet crown, being bound by the coronet crown by the king, and that's King Charles. And believe it or not, the Lion of Judah and the unicorn is the engine, the tribes of Israel, and the engine of the nation, the engine of their society, and it's bounded by the king. That's why that's why it's gagged. That's why it's bounded with a crown and chains around his neck. And it reads, "Cast thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow, or will he harrow the valley after thee?" You know what I'm saying? Can you bind Israel, or will you go chasing after it? But we see Esau bounded the unicorn. Esau did. But that was prophecy. Genesis 15:13. "And he said unto Abraham, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. The stranger that is within thee," and this is Deuteronomy 28:43, "the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low." And that's Esau, the wild man who stole our surname, bound in the unicorn. That's us coming down low. The unicorn of Israel, you want to call it the unicorn of the nation of the Jacobites, of the Hebrews that was ruling. It got bounded by the wild man, by the wild woman. You know? It's all history. It's there for us to get edification. You know what I'm saying? Esau bounded us, brought us low. Now, what's a patronymic name? A surname. A patronymic is a component of a personal name based on the given name of one's father, grandfather, or an earlier male ancestor. So that's where our surnames come from. That's how we use our surnames. It's patronymic. You dig? And the surnames are documented to be used in the 11th century, which was the 10th century. Alright? An additional name added to the baptismal or Christian name, which becomes a family name. And that was all us. Alright? So, nevertheless, man, I hope Israel was edified. You know, I had to work with what I had, man. I couldn't really bring it out the way I really wanted to bring it out. But I hope Israel was edified, man. This is Teller Nicholas with the House of St. Nicholas and Vince's 8 Saints of Israel. Shalom.